All right, so we're back here with another deck profile here, and I just got top 8 at another local there, using probably my second favorite deck of all time, right behind Synchron's, Generators. This deck has absolutely become insane with the new support from Photon Hypernova, and I really think that just with a little bit more theory crafting, I can really push this deck to be really good. One thing I will say is that this list I will not say is final. I'm still tweaking it, and this is just the list I did take to locals. So please bear in mind with it, and I'll see if I can. I'll take it again to another few locals there, with hopefully a new deck list, and I'll update it if I do any better there. But let's take a look into it here for one of the coolest archetypes in the game, Generator. So taking a look at the main deck here, we're playing obviously the OG. We're playing Lopter, Shadow of the Generator bosses. So this is actually a pretty good normal summon, but I wouldn't even say it's your best normal summon anymore. And there's one reason for that. Because of the other card we're also playing as a normal summon, we're playing Diviner of the Herald. So this card, I can't believe I didn't think about it before, especially with the new support. I feel like this card is a must, because a lot of your cards now are fairies. You can send Vala off of this. You can send Lopter off of it. So, for example, if you have Diviner and Lopter in hand, you can only normal summon one of them. The best thing I feel like you're going to want to summon is going to be Diviner. You can normal summon Diviner, send Vala, use Vala effect to pitch Lopter, Vala will summon, and Vala effect to reborn the Lopter. So this card's insane. You can also send, for example, we're playing Entis in the extra deck. You can pop a card with that as well. And then another card as well that we're playing a level 7 fairy. I guess it's level 9 that can work with that as well. So those are going to be your main normal summons. So let's take a look at your actual generator bosses. Of course, we're playing the absolute best card in the deck, Vala. I cannot state how good this card is. This card is revolutionized the deck entirely. It's made it like 1,000 times better and more consistent. The one downside is that that's the reason why we're also playing the Diviner. It gets you access to this more easy, and it works really well with Monstrosity as well. And then for your other generators, we're playing Tuhar, extremely solid boss monster. And then the only other two of generator we're playing is Mardell. Search a card. It's insane. I was only playing this at 1 before, but with the new support, I feel like I want to have a few more names because I need to be able to pitch for Vala. And then the final generator names we're playing one Utgarda, and this one is kind of a flex spot that I'm going to be taking out in the future, and I'll probably replace with Fraudy. Even though Fraudy's not that great, I feel like I do want another name. So if I'm playing World Legacy Monstrosity at 3, I want to always be able to summon 2. And I was playing this one as another name, but I realized it's a fire, and Vala's also a fire, so it doesn't work perfectly. So I'd probably be swapping this for Fraudy. And that's just going to be all your generator bosses there. Pretty cool there. Then for some monsters that you're going to be playing here, you're going to be playing one Trias Hierarchy. This card was pretty glued to my hand, but honestly it wasn't that bad, because its effect is pretty insane. There's, for example, you can send it off Diviner as well if you don't need either of the other names, and then this still can proc Engrave. You can still use its effect Engrave to tribute 3 fairies or 2 fairies to pop 1, or if you tribute 3, you can also draw 2 as well. You can draw to some hand traps. And then the final one of monster we're playing is Protecting Spirit Logalith. I feel like this is the best level 7 fairy you can use. The only reason why we're playing a level 7 fairy is because if we normal summon Diviner and we need to make it a level 9, this is what we want to send for it. And its effect has actually come up a few times for me, where you can, for example, you can normal summon any one of your fairies or activate any one of your fairies' effects, summon this. Then you can banish one of their cards. You can spot banish with this. It's actually kind of insane. It actually happened quite a few times, and I'm actually glad I have this card in my deck. So you would think it's a bricky card, but it's not. I find it's not actually a bricky card at all. So those are your main monsters. Then for some hand traps, we're playing 3 Nib. I was testing further, and I probably will take this out of the main deck, just because it always underperformed. I never felt like I was winning with it. And then you're just going to be playing 3 Ash Blossom, self-explanatory. And that's all for the monsters in the main deck there. Now to the spells. Of course, you have Another insanely good card for the deck, Generator Boss Stage. The deck lives and breathes by this spell card. You always want to have access to it, and the deck is very consistent at getting you to that. There are some times where it's pretty unfortunate that you can't get access to this, so your end board is probably just one Xyz monster or something like that, and maybe a hand trap in hand. And then another card that I'm probably going to be bumping up is War Legacy Monstrosity. I only played it at 2 because I felt like when I was drawing multiples of it, it felt really dead in my hand, and I didn't like that. So I'm only playing it. I only played it at 2, but as we're refining the list, I'm going to be bumping this up back to 3, how I originally was playing it. Then for some one-of spells you're going to be playing here, one boss quest. I'm probably going to be cutting this card entirely. It's not that great anymore, to be honest. When now you want to be having your generators in hand for Vala. So getting rid of your monsters. You search the field spell, sure, and probably boss room, but I feel like you kind of lose the value of having a generator name in hand anymore. Kujikiro Curse. The only reason why I'm playing this is because I don't actually own Prosperities, so I do need to get those. So this is a decent substitute for some draw power, and for some more draw power, we're playing one Upstart. So just substitution for draw power. If you have Prosperities, then you could probably take these 3 spells out. And then we're playing one Terraforming, self-explanatory, and one Foolish Burial. You'd be surprised how much Foolish Burial can actually come up. You have a lot of things that actually activate in graves. For example, you have Vala and you have Trias Hierarchy. So if this is just like your another card in hand and you're not too worried about needing to pitch it off of, say, boss room, you can send Trias Hierarchy, and it's another interaction you can have there. So that's it for the spells. Some trap cards. Nothing too crazy here. We have 3 Imperm. With further testing, I feel like I'm going to be changing this to Veiler, just because a lot of your cards can draw you cards. Like, for example, Jormungandr is going to be able to draw you cards on your opponent's turn, and you want those draws to be as valuable as possible. So drawing into a Veiler is going to be much better than drawing it into an Imperm. And then you could also probably change one card in the extra deck, put in Baron, and then if you are able to normal summon Veiler with any level 9, you have Baron as well. So it's a niche thing you can test. And then we're playing 3 Generator Boss Fight. The only reason why I'm maxing this out is because you do always want access to your field spell at all times, and it's a pitch card for Vala if you need it. And then the final card in the main deck, we're playing one Boss Room. To be honest, I found myself searching Boss Fight more often than I've been searching Boss Room, because some of your combos are pretty depleting for the hand, and you sometimes don't have access to a discard, or at least a valuable discard. Say, for example, if your last card in hand is a hand trap, you don't want to be discarding it. So this card is a little bit controversial right now, feel like, but it's just there. So if you are at a combo where you do have extra cards in hand, this is really solid. So that's all you're going to have there for the main deck. Now for the extra deck. Of course, we're going to be playing the brand new Xyz monster here. This card's bonkers. Holy cow. I've been made it with 3 materials several times there, and against back row decks, this just kills them because you can just attach whatever they set down, and then you still have horror for your negates. It's insane. And a lot of people, what they don't know is that it's in its same effect is attaching material to what you summon here, Jormungandr. A lot of people think that it only attaches on like an activation from Jormungandr. Nope. And this tributes for cost. It's absolutely insane. Jormungandr is only there really because you can kind of combo turn 1 if you have boss stage, and you can make this, and then you can summon another thing from deck. But most of the time you just want to make Leviatine, whatever you pronounce it. And then you just go into this, and honestly, it's a big monster, and you can get a 4 material Zeus pretty easily with it. And speaking of Zeus, we're going to be playing 2 Zeus. Self-explanatory. Zeus, to be honest, like, I've made Zeus, but the amount of times I've actually used Zeus's effects is probably none. Just because by the time you can make Zeus, it's like they're just going to scoop. Like, you have boss stage activated, you have a 4 material Zeus, you probably have horror on field, and then you have a card or 2 in hand most of the time, so they just scoop. Then for your one of Xyz, you have Hyperton. If you're worried about a lot of monster heavy decks, Hyperton's really good, and as well you can probably get a spell on it if you've used Monstrosity and Boss Stage in the same turn. Phantom Fortress, great removal card. This is like the best removal card you have in your deck here because it's non-targeting. Most of the time I am using it for banishing the one card your opponent controls, non-targeting. But its other effects can come up if you really want. Banish a random card in their hand, banish a card from their graveyard, that kind of stuff. So, for example, you can rip a card, then go battle phase and then make your Zeus with it. So that's an option. Earth Slicer, it's really good. You can pop 2 cards, and if you're against Branded, if they use Opening to summon Alibur, you can attack into the Alibur and attach it so it can't use its grave effect. So that's actually it for the Xyz monsters. Link monsters, I'm very torn on these. These feel kind of useless. I've never really made any of them, and then whenever I have, it's like I can't pull something off with them. So you have Lingaribo, you have IP, you have Unicorn. These would normally be the only ones I would play, but because I'm missing on a few cards there, I'm substituting. So I'm playing Avramax, and I'm playing Underworld Goddess. And then final card in the deck, we're just playing Entis. So for example, if I was actually had all the cards I need, I'd take out these 2 cards. I'd put in a Garura and a Aggregator. It's one of those. It's a new rank 9 that came out in Darkwing Blast there that can send a card from extra, so you can send this as well pretty easily. But that's actually it for the main deck there. So it's a lot of subject to change there. It's definitely not finalized, and I'm still going to be tweaking at it. We might as well look at the side deck again as well for this side deck here. I'm not going to say it's complete. Still working on it here. We'll have 3 Lancia. This card is on some conditions it just wins against Kashtira. Some branded matchups it's a coin flip depending what their hand is like. We have 2 Kaijus. I'll probably be actually playing 3 Kaijus in the main deck, probably swapping out for Nib. Because this deck, for example, we hard lose to just a Rise Heart Pass. Like, we can't play through a Rise Heart Pass pretty much without like a perfect hand. I'm going to be playing 3 Lightning Storm, good staple card. Then we're playing a funny package here. We're going to be playing Secret Village of the Spellcasters and 3 Metaverse. So you can kind of see the synergy there. If you're playing Prosperities, for example, this is much more consistent. So if you get boss stage, you summon a horror, you probably have Hyperton. You probably want to make Hyperton in this situation. You make Hyperton with a spell and spell or monster negate. You have horror on field, then you can Metaverse out for Secret Village. They can't use spells, and you have you'd have 2 monster negates there. So good luck for them playing through it. And then final card in your side deck is just going to be 3 evenly matched. It's the best board breaker card in the game. So that's it for the deck there. One side note I do want to say, if you're going to be playing the deck, please get some tokens. If you're not playing, if you don't have the actual tokens for this deck, it's kind of embarrassing, honestly. I know they kind of went up a little bit in price there. Like, they're quite a few dollars now. I got these pretty cheap when I got them probably about a year ago, before any of the new support was even announced for the OCG. But please get some tokens. You'll greatly appreciate it once you do. But that's it for the deck there. I'm very happy. I finally did pretty well with the deck there. I'm going to be continuing to test it there and try and push it as far as I can. I really do think that this deck can push the limits of... I can see this being quite a formidable threat if you can pilot it correctly. But that's it there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks. Bye.